Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 48 of season 4 of the award-winning Press X to Start podcast. Press X is a weekly gaming podcast about inclusivity and its place in gaming. Games for everyone, and we here at Press X hope to break down the walls of exclusivity with our discussions on news, reviews, and all things video games. I'm your host, your heavyweight champion from Wish Nigga Wood, California, a.k.a. the janitor because of be watching niggas, a.k.a. Silver Spoon Coon, a.k.a. Hose Mad. And you know why you're mad. Marcus Ellison.
I am Sean MF Ross.
What
what
MF
the
stand
MS
for?
stand for?
Apparently, Cyberpunk Lou Bega.
I am DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka
Oh, that's good. Good job.
Cyberpunk. That shit is broke.
Oh my god, boy. Nigga, that was a fire
AKA.
joke.
That's going to go so well in the video.
Yes. Did you know that we are actually recording this on video? So if you wanted to see that fire, aka, you need to actually watch the video on our IGTV and our
Yep.
YouTube.
You're
channel. Check it out.
And I am Jordan, aka JXBot, Series Xbot,
hey.
aka
Shut
Jordan
up.
Raventhorpe, because my heart's still in Valhalla, but I am enjoying Night City. But we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? This is Cameron. Think about this, audience. How many times have you seen me on this podcast? Not often. So you
That's
know
true.
a game must be bad.
But you were here. You were here last week talking about the Witcher.
Yes, for the third time. So you know, if I have cleared my schedule, I have dropped my son off with my wife. I said, you know what?
Wow.
I cannot let this slide.
Actually,
This is
if this
Cameron.
proves anything, it's that Cameron is a secret CD Projekt Red stan because every game he's talked about recently.
I can guarantee you one thing. I will not be coming back and saying I was wrong about Cyberpunk. I admit about The Witcher, but hell no.
I can't wait for
Give
the
it time. Give it time.
Yeah,
Those
give it-
dildos
After
will
the
grow on you.
30th patch.
Those dildos
Well,
will grow on you.
speaking of Cyberpunk, now that we're all introduced, we only got one game to talk about this week. So for what we've been playing, we're going to do a review in progress / early impressions of Cyberpunk 2077. So how we're going to do this is we're going to break it down into talks of the performance, and boy, we got some things to talk about. Then we'll talk about our play style, like how our individual Vs are going to be playing through the game. Then we'll give some impressions on the story, and if we got time, some favorite moments. So starting out, what y'all got to say about the performance?
Who's going first?
I will go first.
Go ahead. DJ.
What are you playing on, DJ?
I'm playing on the
An Atari,
unfortunate
apparently.
the unfortunate PS2. To put it very succinctly, my experience has been either of two different sides of fences. On the left side is the PS4 experience. On the right side is the PS2 experience. This game is so fucking broken that I literally made a Facebook post that like Cyberpunk will go on the wall, on the hallowed walls of Watch Dogs 1, Killzone 3, and No Man's Sky for being absolutely masterclass of false fucking advertising. Because this is bullshit.
Yo, so I'm playing this also on the PS4, and Marcus, I want to redact something I stated in the Slack. So in the Slack, I exaggerated and said my PlayStation had crashed 20 times playing this game.
Oh, okay.
I exaggerated. I went and counted the log, and it was 10 times.
Okay.
So you're half the way there.
Yeah.
Now, did these crashes kick you out the app itself?
Yes. And here's the thing. Here's how bad the crash is. So you know how
Every
normally
time.
when you're playing the PlayStation game, your crash and the little blue bar loads up immediately, and then you just start to nigga, even the blue bar stuttered.
Yep.
You know how bad the game is that the blue bar is like, hold up, nigga, we loading too.
Yo, PlayStation was like, I thought this was gonna work. I
I don't know, my guy. I don't know what's going on.
Yo,
the PlayStation 4, like, what more do you want from me?
Kill me.
and so
now.
then
Kill me.
I did do the tips, which is like pretty much you turn off all the graphical settings that they put in there.
Yeah.
And then
I haven't done that yet.
it has made a difference. But
It looks better.
here's the broken thing about the game. So, if you do the settings in the main menu, like you turn off like sensor nudity and all that stuff, it doesn't work in the game. So you have to load up the game and turn those things off in the game settings.
Nudity
At least on my version of
nudity impacted performance.
Jesus, Cameron, how big was your dick?
You see all these triangles, my man?
The PlayStation couldn't render it?
It's a game breaking dick right there, boy.
I can't stand you. No, bro. Like I mean, those are the settings. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, but I turned off like depth of field, the grain, all that stuff in the like main menu. It still showed up, and then when I turned the game on, went to the settings there, it was still on, and so I had to turn it off from there, and that's when it works. This game is just fundamentally bad. I mean, graphically, it's terrible. Marcus, I don't know. You gotta tell me where else you want to go from here, because
So
you can let somebody else go.
as the other current gen, or I guess last gen now player.
AKA
No. Marcus, I want to correct you, because here's the thing that has made me very upset in this whole like discourse around this game. Like, you get a bunch of trolls on the internet to say like it's your fault for playing on a 8-year-old hardware. First of all, nigga, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X did not exist until November.
Yep.
The game was supposed to originally come out in April.
Yep.
So no, nigga. And then the reason why those consoles show better is because it's the brute force of that hardware. It's not because that game is optimized for those consoles. So
you're absolutely right.
Shut up. I'm
No,
You're
you're
talk
right.
that shit, King.
You're right.
No, but no good.
I was gonna say we're all playing on the PS4 and Xbox.
No, not the
What is this
at the bottom of the chat.
I know. I'm
What
just. I
is
mean,
this
like,
Wii
no.
No. I didn't get to finish my statement. We're
Okay.
all playing on the PS4 and Xbox One version of the game.
Right.
Oh,
Not-
okay.
You guys don't have the next gen version of the game. So
No, that patch has not come out.
Right.
Yeah, that won't come until 2021.
Mark,
Basically, playing on PS4, I concur with DJ and Cam. Basically, it's a rough experience. My game hasn't crashed as much as Cam's, but it still crashed quite a bit and did the whole stutter bar thing. And it just was the first time it crashed, I thought that I was gonna have to turn off my whole system because it didn't load to 100% like in seconds. So I was like, did you just break my console? What happened here? But yeah, it's rough, man, and it's sad because, like, admittedly, The Witcher 3 also came out pretty rough, but not this rough. And I understand that this is a more ambitious game than The Witcher 3, but
Is it?
It is.
We haven't gone far enough in the game to see all the systems that's working.
Nigga, I can tell you. From my opinion, it is not. I mean, first of all, like on the console, the world is empty. There's like 5 NPCs anywhere.
But what they're
on
trying,
your system.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like as deep as you want to make
Go
it.
ahead,
And
Marcus.
especially after playing Watch Dogs Legion. No.
well, what they're trying to accomplish with this game now, they're with implementing it in their performance, they weren't able to stick the landing, unfortunately. But what they've been trying to accomplish with this compared to Witcher 3, it's definitely more ambitious, but it's not working out. So from a performance standpoint, this game is a big old wet fart for like. It's already, I think they've had like 4 updates or 4 patches so far. Like we're on like 1.104 or whatever, and it's still.
I think it's 1.
Yeah, no, he's right.
On the PS4, it's it went from 1.02 to 1.04.
There you go.
Yeah, and it's still just like, I don't know, man. Like, it'll be interesting to see what this game is playing like in 6 months. But for right now, the performance is not great. But I'll pass it over to our next gen friends to see what y'all's experience is like before we go forward.
Well,
Jordan,
Sean,
go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. I do. Appreciate
I
that.
cannot stand.
You can just see the white burn from their heads.
I mean, Sean, you've been such a gentleman over the course of these last few months. I do appreciate it. All right. So, okay, brass tacks. I am playing on the Xbox Series X, and I'm apprehensive of saying this because if I was playing this shit on the Xbox One, which I still currently have, so I haven't given it to my my dad wants it because he has nothing else to do while he's being retired. So
shout out to Pops.
I would have had the same type of reaction as Marcus, as Donald, as who else on the podcast? But
Actually, you've probably been more upset because that Xbox One is worse.
It is literally night and day, and it is very much so unexcusable for a game that has been marketed for this many years to perform as poorly. That being said, my Xbox Series X performance this is one of the best looking games I played in a while because of how well it is performing on the Xbox Series X. There are some weird hiccups. I have not, because the reason why I asked before about if you were exited out of the app after a crash, crashes on Series X occur, but it would not kick me out of the app. It would be like a 2-second pause, and then it's kind of like it was rendering a part of the world or rendering an event.
Can I ask you what mode are you playing in?
I was playing on performance mode, and performance mode is at 60 frames per second. There's some pretty good videos on Digital Foundry that it was basically 60 frames per second at 2,400. It's like kind of like a few above the 1440. But if I were playing on a 4K television, I did not get my television mounted yet. I'm still playing on television that allows for HDR, but it's still at best 1440. I would not get all of the experience, but I'm pretty sure if I played it in 4K, I might have known some pixelization if I had played in performance mode. I did switch over to quality mode and turned off the motion blur, turned off whatever that new video feature. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but it's
Chrome aberration.
Yeah, I turned that off. I turned all that, and the game looks amazing. The game looks amazing. Performs well. Loads quickly. It is a very, very good game. The reflections show off instant. And the interior of the car has some subtle reflections from sunlight, and
can't relate.
It's a great game. That's all I got to say. I mean, it is it's only great because it's a weird quasi mid-gen console game that which comes out between generations that is having such an aggressive disparity between the last one. This is the last generation.
Have you had roughly?
Sorry?
How many crashes have you had roughly? Or has it crashed?
3. I've had 3 so far. 3 crashes.
Okay.
And they're the ones that I've described. So
okay. I'm playing it on a PlayStation 5, of course. I think it's only performance mode on the PS5 for now.
Yeah, capped at 60. Yeah, 60 frames. Unleashed at 60 frames, actually. Unleashed at 60 frames.
The graphics are weird. There are some portions where it looks really, really crisp, and then there are other times where I see shadows and jagginess on the shadows and what have you. Anti-aliasing is turned off. It has crashed a few times for me. I think the first time I was driving the car, I crashed into a pole, and then the game crashed. And I was like, well, fuck it. I guess I'm walking from now. I ain't getting back in the car. So I have not used the car very much because I think it has only really crashed anytime I have gotten in the car and started driving. It's fucking strange.
I mean, but that makes sense. Driving is the thing that tests this game the most. If you want your game to stutter, start driving.
Nah, for me, most of the time my game is just collapsed in on itself, and this is going to something that we'll talk about later. It's when I get in a fist fight and the whole game decides to be like, whoa, pull your gun out. What are you doing?
It's too much for me.
Right.
But no, it looks fine. It looks pretty good to me. I will replay it again when the PS5 version actually drops because I've done that with Last of Us and GTA. I mean, I'll do it again.
I'm saving Corpo for my second playthrough when they finally release the patch because I don't know how this game's gonna do profiles. At least in terms of how its save system is, I don't know unless you're very.
It's that it will
rigorous.
tell you what path you're on.
Yeah, I'm just saying it depends on how rigorous they are about the manual saving. Because I don't want to save my corporal save over my Street Kid save.
You won't. Have you saved the game?
No, I have saved the game, but I don't know. Like I haven't started up a new track.
It'll have multiple save things for you to use, multiple profiles. They say
it's pretty standard affair when it comes to saving. Like in one part of the game, I saved before doing a thing, and I was like, let me see what happens, and I just went back to the old save and nothing.
It saves like every 2 minutes or some shit like that almost.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay. Well, now we're gonna do Red Robin. What is your V's play style? And just to throw in some extra, I guess.
Red Robin is that a ghetto round robin?
I meant round robin.
Red Robin.
I clearly want French fries.
Salty ass fries and sweet ass
or diarrhea because it gave me diarrhea the first and only time I
get hypertension.
Oh no!
You can get hypertension and diabetes at the same time at Red Robin.
Anyway.
So yeah, we're gonna go around round robin, and we're gonna talk about each of our V's playstyle and also what life path you chose. So starting with DJ.
Speaking of diarrhea, when I decided to spend a whole 30 minutes or so customizing my V to make her look as cool as I want. I even went back and changed the color of her eyes and her hair to make it a little bit more cyberpunky or whatever. When I got dropped into the game, I was like, all right, bet. And then it showed me what my V looked like in game. And I was like, why the fuck did I waste 30 minutes doing this shit? Like, what? Anyways, my V, my play style, I was going to lead like heavy on hacking, but the way that hacking is presented, at least in my mind, like it was like
you expected something different.
I expected something more efficient.
No, it is.
It is, but the way that it was, like the way that I perceive like breaching and stuff, like it didn't click to me in terms of how it worked. And actually, Shireen's, my wife's brother, he's also playing this. He played it on PS4, said it was trash. He bought it again on Stadia and was like, "This is amazing."
I told you.
No, you're right. But he basically said that, like, think of hacking like magic. And I was like, that makes sense. Like in that context, I understand how to use hacking more efficiently. And like I've gotten more familiar with like using breach and then do like a magic
you
spell.
Should breach everyone possible.
Yes, even if you're not going to do anything else. Yep.
Yeah. So like I didn't realize that like that's how breach works. So like I was breaching people and just like, all right, I can distract them. All right, cool.
But like that's because you haven't enabled or attached any other things to yourself yet.
That's the thing, yeah. So like for me, combat has pretty much relied on the first person shooting of the game. And as I told you guys, I spent an egregious amount of time customizing the control. I will say that Cyberpunk definitely gets my nod for accessibility because the level of detail that you can control your like your acceleration ramping and deramping when you're like turning.
It's a PC game.
Yeah.
Like the standard PC control customization.
That's awesome. I will say that the shooting is not awesome. I am at the point now where I've gotten accustomed to the shooting and how it works, just like how everyone else is. But in the back of my mind, I'm still like, this is just a means to an end. Like I'm not really enjoying the combat.
How did you customize your shooting mechanic?
I try to make it as close to like Call of Duty as possible in terms of I had to drop my sensitivity down because I felt like my reticle was just jumping.
You dropped it down?
I dropped it down. I dropped it down and I dropped the zoom sensitivity down.
How low can you go?
Did you take off auto locking?
No, I didn't. But like, I don't
That's probably
really.
why your shit is jumping around though. You should probably
But
turn it back on, but turn off
It's
auto
not.
lock.
It's not even. It's not even jumping around towards the person. It's like I wasn't able to make the fine details once I like am close to a person. So that was something I fixed that, so that's fine. My main problem I have with combat is that when I'm doing stuff outside, it's fine. When I'm inside, it is too fucking dark, and I don't know.
I noticed that as well. I agree.
And like, especially the last mission I did was the Maelstrom, like doing that whole thing, and it's just like,
well, they have lights in there that you're actually supposed to turn on. They have spotlights.
They do, yeah,
but like,
why? Like, why?
You shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've been doing more of the shooting than the hacking, but I'm starting to get accustomed to hacking. My favorite weapon is precision rifle. Yeah.
Is that like a sniper rifle or a DMR type shit or what?
Yeah, it's akin to the FAL from COD. Yeah.
Oh, and DJ, what's your life path?
Oh yeah, I am a nomad, and I gotta say,
stay outside the walls.
I you know what though, I will say that when I first started the game, I got the PS4 experience because the desert easy as fuck to render. It looks perfect.
So Trump 2077 couldn't keep you out, huh?
Yo.
What about you, Sean? What's your play style and your life path?
I started out a street kid, aka
gang.
street rat. So it's funny. First I started out. I mean, I should be a street kid. I should be aggressive, but I was just wondering why everybody was so mean to me at first. I walked up to people. I walked up to the police. Their meter turned red and started attacking me. I walked up to
man, we're like, I mean, just walking by them, they're like ready to shoot.
Why is everybody so mean?
Is that Lou Bega?
Yeah, like they
are must know you're black.
That doesn't happen to me at all.
If you stand long enough next to somebody, they aggro. They just don't like you in their fucking face.
Or if you try to talk someone like those random crash events, you try to talk someone there to like get out of here. You're not involved.
That's crazy. The only time that I had an issue with the police was when you're in the building and they're like at the little crime scene.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Wait. What color is your V?
Black, of course.
Okay.
I'm a black, strong woman. Thank you very much.
This isn't a South Park game when they had like the race of the character be.
But no, but the other thing too about the police, like you know how you get those like police scanner things to go help, right? There's one where the villains are actively shooting the police, and you go to help them. I go to help them. The police are like, "All right, cool. Now that that's over." They turn red on me and start lighting me up too. I was like, "Yo, bruh."
Got a little fun. Like, you're doing something illegal. I'm like, I'm fucking helping the police. What are you talking about? Like,
and
exactly, because this game is woke. Defund the police.
Okay, so
Black Lives Matter.
The police were having coffee, and I was standing next to them. They aggroed me. And it's funny because I tried to run, and you can
nigga 6 feet.
Like, you can see their cone of vision like going all over the place. And I ran up and like on top of a rooftop or some shit out of their vision. I didn't realize that they have drones, so the drones came up and just started shooting me, and I'm just like, oh shit!
Wow, did one of your bullets hit one of them? They shouldn't have been.
I didn't shoot anybody.
The drones do follow you, bruh.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
But no, I mean, now I switched it up. Now, I walk up on a motherfucker. What you say to me, nigga? Yeah, I'm just walking up and smacking everybody. I have a bat now. Their name is
Little Pig.
But no, my play style, I'm using a pistol, an assault rifle, and now I'm using the bat because the shit is just funny to just charge up a strong attack and wait around the corner and wait for them to pop around the corner and mouth. And they just like for a minute. It only takes like 2 or 3 hits with the bat for now. Okay. But the shit's kind of hilarious with me. Yeah, I understand hacking. You got to switch out like your cyber deck and get more RAM and all this other shit.
Yeah.
And
hack faster.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they have other things that'll switch up your hacking, but I mean, I'm enjoying it. Go ahead.
Okay. What about you, Jordan?
So first off, I went Street Kid. I felt that Street Kid was like narrative wise what made the most sense. Based on what I'm hearing in terms of the other two, it kind of still shoehorns into the same situation a little bit. But we'll see. Once all this is said and done, hopefully it doesn't. But I am noticing some subtle differences in terms of a few characters that I'm interacting with as a Street Kid. That I'm like, you know what? If I went Corpo, that person would have been way more significant to me.
Right.
In terms of playstyle, I'm trying to go all around. I'm going into the Cool track because Cool got some crazy shit. Like if you look at those nodes within Cool,
You can
like
throw
crazy,
knives.
yeah, they're like crazy takedowns. But when it comes to how I approach situations, I usually go to non-violent route because those have some pretty interesting narrative. Sorry, we'll see later on if those narratives have any impact on it. But
Wait, when you say you go non-violent, do you mean like if you're doing like a bounty, you take them alive?
No. I mean, I'm talking
You
about
can do
a
non-lethal takedown.
No, neither. I'm talking about talking my way out of a situation. I'm talking about I'm talking to them, and because I did certain things beforehand, I had certain information.
Right.
I was able to talk them out because this game does not have Paragon or Renegade, good or bad options. But there were times to which, because the savings pretty generous, but this one person I was talking to, my B basically called them a fucking asshole piece of shit. And they're like, "Oh, we fighting, we're boxing." We're like, "Don't you don't talk to me talk to me like that in front of my men." But I reloaded the save, and I was like, I kind of smoothed over their ego, and they're like, "You know what? You're a piece of shit, but I'll help you out. You treated me with kindness, and we don't have to shoot our way out of here. So."
Jordan out here, saves coming.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm trying to get the perfect playthrough. I could do blind, but I'm not trying to do blind right now. I'm trying to get back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But yeah, no, it reminds me a lot of Deus Ex in terms of there was a time when I did not have a high enough tech skill, but I just looked around and I noticed there was another entryway for me to get to this area to which it didn't really matter. That's exactly how Deus Ex is. And seeing that almost quintupled across the city, each area in the city has its own fucking thing going on. I'm able to go in situations, non-story wise. I kind of try and I try to go through as silent and non-lethally as possible. But then I just shoot my way out just for fun, because the gunplay is pretty fun so far.
Hey, since we were playing Valhalla, are you trying to press in the right stick to scan the area?
Yeah, it's terrible. Because if you get a certain perk with Valhalla, you end up putting traps on people's bodies on accident on the same.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But that's my playthrough so far.
Okay.
It's fun.
Cam?
Yeah, so I went in through Corpo. And I knew I was kind of doing Corpo to begin with, so I didn't watch any IGN videos or anything like that. But I did watch it for the other paths, and I'm glad I did. For me, narratively, the relationship between you and V makes more sense.
V and Jackie?
Yeah, V and that Jackie and V makes more sense from a narrative standpoint, because in the Corporal they had this long-standing relationship. He actually used to work there as well, and so it made sense why before you had to do whatever your thing is that my V would reach out to Jackie, as opposed to Street Kid. It was like, I'm going to do this gig too. What? You're going to be here too? Oh my god!
Okay, that's cool.
And so as I've gotten further in the story,
real quick for the Nomad path, I was literally going to a spot and Jackie was there, and he was basically like, "Yeah, we have to just take this." He was like, "Oh, you found this container or whatever. We'll just take this to people in Night City." I'm like, "All right, I guess I know."
Okay, so you meet Jackie differently in each life path.
That's and good. It's only contentious once, I guess, with it, which is the Street Kid one. Interesting.
Yeah, and so based off of certain narrative beats, for me the things ring truer, knowing that I started out with Corpo because they had that long-standing work relationship. In terms of my play style, I'm using I didn't know what I was going to do going in, because I'm not a fan of first person shooters, and I'm not a fan of first person melee either.
First person melee is garbage all the time.
Yeah,
Not
I
in
mean,
this game.
the only one I got it right was what Mirror's Edge. You know, at the
No,
time,
so
it-
I
it-
want to push back on that. I would say first person melee is pretty OP in this game. You can
Okay.
pretty much take down enemies and bosses within probably like 5 minutes. I mean, like for like a boss who has a little health bar. I would say it's pretty easy, especially if you do those like psycho ones, and the person is like, blade running across.
all over the place.
Man, shoot him in the leg. Like, stop it.
Okay.
No,
real
I mean,
quick,
but I'm using a katana, and you can just counter them and pretty
real
much
quick
kill
about
them.
that.
Mm-hmm.
This game is I actually did like one of the psycho mission things, and at first I was like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy. It was like doing little fucking Naruto teleport and shit. But then I was
throw
like,
the gun at him. Like,
no, but like I just pulled out my shotgun and I just waited till they were in front of me and did a little jump thing, and I shot him and I just stunned them. I was like, all right, so this is easy now.
So it depends.
I just threw hands with that, man.
I didn't even bother doing any of that.
well, no, like
I would say
some of them. There's a stipulation to bring them in without.
No, yeah,
killing
that's
them.
what I mean.
No. Let me tell you that is a false thing.
Really?
Yes, because I've used a katana, and so and within your cyberware, there are certain mods you can put on your eyes to make sure that your weapons are non-lethal. I always forget to do that when I go into there, so I'm always going in lethal.
But what about your hands? Because I was able to take them out with my hands. Not
I don't bother with hands. I use katana straight, and
Cam don't come to the fight without a weapon.
Not at all. And so each time it kills them, but what happens is the animation shows that the enemy just faints. And then the call that V gets from the fixer is, "Hey, I'm coming in. The person's taken out. I'll come in to pick up whatever the bot."
That's kind of whack.
So it's false. That's what I've discovered. I don't know if it's necessarily a bug on my part. But yeah. So I use a katana. I'm heavy on hacking, and I really like it because it feels more. For me, it feels more intuitive. It feels more realistic than Watch Dogs. So Watch Dogs is literally you hack folks, but you're only doing like 2 things. And here,
you got a phone, you can hack.
Right, and here it feels it feels like there's some strategy to it. And so for the missions where you have to be stealthy, or stealth is optional but recommended. You can do some hacks where you blind the enemies so that way you can kind of move around the spots. You can do hacks where you jam their weapons. You can do hacks on computer enemies that are electric and short circuits and does high damage. You could do hacks that cripples the enemy's movements, which is really good for those fast moving bosses. And so it feels, to Sean's point, it feels like Magic or MP if you were playing like a traditional RPG. The other thing is
thank you very much.
No, that was Sean. Sean brought that up. Shut up.
Nuh-uh.
And so he literally said, DJ, think of it as magic.
No, I said that.
Whatever. Anyway, back to the point.
Rewind the tape.
In terms of weapons, I try to use the pistol, but it doesn't. The shooting on the pistol doesn't feel right for me. So I use assault rifles, and right now I got the mod that lets me shoot smart, and so it shoots around the corner. Which
Did you
feels
get
great.
From Tiger people?
Yeah.
Cameron.
Yeah.
How can you say you can do all of these things and say the game doesn't have any complex systems in play?
No.
This shit has a lot of moving parts.
Sean, all right, I'm gonna get there. So I'll say my one last point about the game, and then I'll address that. So the other thing for me is I use shotguns and I switch between snipers. But the thing for me is the game has too many pistols. Like every time I turn around, I'm getting like 1,000 pistols and like 5 assault rifles.
Yeah, deconstruct yourself.
But I mean that's fine. But actually, I want the pistols. I eventually want the mantis blades. Now to get to Sean's point about the combat, I think the combat and the gameplay is unique to Cyberpunk. I believe that the gunplay I like because the guns have a nice like crunch and weight to them. So when you use a shotgun on an RPG, like it feels like you're hitting them with a shotgun, even though they may like get up and stagger.
Them niggas fold.
quickly.
And they get
And you
right
get the nice
back up. I'm like,
you get the nice animation with the katana where you cut their heads off, and it's really nice. Now,
Oh,
where I
nice.
say it's not complex is the actual open world mechanics to it is not complex. And the reason why I say that is, like, I think about when I think of open world, like in this style, yeah, I think about the driving, I think about NPC interactions, I think about your ability to use and go into the buildings and all that stuff. And within Cyberpunk at this stage, there are only 5 buildings you can actually go into.
What?
I mean, there's not that many.
Mm,
So for example, with Red Dead or with any or even Watch Dogs, when you go into a city or like any part of the city, for the most part, you
Yeah.
can go into those buildings. There's not these invisible walls. With Cyberpunk, there are tons of invisible walls, and you don't go into a lot of buildings. That's the reason why a lot of the vendors are out in the open.
No.
Yes.
When I
And then okay, and then
There's many
something is
buildings I've been into so far.
yeah,
Across
but
the
those
city.
buildings. I disagree. I do.
I mean, but like that's very strange because like that doesn't sound right at all.
I disagree. But then
they probably
the
turned it off for the PS4 niggas. That's all.
It'd be like that, I guess.
The other thing I would say is something like driving. Like something like driving, it's standard. Everyone has perfected driving, and
That's not what I mean by that though.
no. Okay, but I'm saying, I'm thinking about the overall open world compact package. And when I say it's not like complex, I'm not talking about the gunplay, and I'm not talking about the story, or I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking about when you think of every open world game that you've ever played, there are like core things that are there. If it's a city, there's driving, there's NPC interaction, there is like the ways you go into like buildings and buy stuff. Like there's stuff that is part of fundamental open world stuff that CD Projekt Red did not get correct, did not get done well.
Picking up fucking items is trash and horrible in this game, and I hate it.
UI is bad.
UI is terrible.
The map is bad. Like there are just fundamental things that is in every open world game that GTA and everyone else has perfected that is not good in this game. And
the only thing with the map that I don't think is good per se is that you have to travel to fast travel points.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing that I don't like about the map.
Here's the other thing that I like. For example, when it comes to picking a new mission, like you will go to the mission, scroll down, press X because you're thinking like that's what I do in every game I ever play. But that doesn't actually highlight.
Real quick. Yeah. Remember, this is just a reviewing process, so we're going to be wrapping this up very soon.
Yeah, because
there are
saying there's only 5 buildings to enter into. That's just
no. Well, I'm saying like you can go to different parts of different cities,
right?
But you're not going into every building. Like I would say, you're probably going into like 10% of those buildings there. 10%. And that's the reason why all the vendors. It's the reason why all the vendors, with the exception of the Rip Doctors, are outside. Whenever you're going to buy a new gun, a new piece of clothing, food, medicine, you are going to outdoor vendors.
I mean, there's few clothing stores that are indoors. Like there's a clothing boutique. There's a few clothing boutiques.
In GTA 5, you can rob a liquor store.
I will say though, in GTA
that was on
5,
PlayStation 3, PlayStation
the liquor
4
store was really the only thing that you can actually go into.
There wasn't really the gun store. You can go into the gun store.
Gun store,
you know what?
Even take it to the next level. Even Red Dead Redemption, you can go there. And now, granted, it's Western, but there are all those stores. And so what I'm saying is there was
like 10 buildings in total in the entire.
I get it, but there are things that they fundamentally get wrong. The other thing is the game, like the physics are fundamentally bad, yo. I know we gotta move on, but I just gotta say this.
Yeah. Okay, no.
Okay, let me just say one thing about the physics. Can I just say one thing about the game?
No. Because Marcus hasn't given his thing yet, and we're like we're past the 30-minute mark on this. So.
Yo, it's just the physics are so bad in this game.
Yeah, Marcus.
All right, the only thing I gotta say, because first off, we won't be giving any story anything because most of us are still really early in the game, regardless. So there isn't really any point to bring that up.
Marcus is basically what he's saying.
Well,
and Jordan.
I thought y'all would be further along. That's all I was saying. I mean, but what I will say is I started the game out Street Kid because, I don't know, that just felt like, at least on my first playthrough, that's where I wanted to go with it. Starting out this game, it was rough for me because, one, I do not like... I'm okay with first-person shooters, but I hate first-person RPGs. I hate them. Yeah. And so... getting acclimated to the play style here was really rough for me. Like when I got into my first gunfight, I got worked out because I just was not.
Wait. Were you shooting like Smokey from Friday? Just like
yeah, because I just wasn't. I didn't realize how hard it would be for me to get acclimated to all of this. So it was the first maybe hour or so was rough for me. But then over time, I've gotten more and more accustomed to it. Now I'm having legitimate fun with the gunplay and everything.
Yeah.
I still hate the melee. It's OP, but just the way that it works is bad to me. But I also hate, like I said earlier, all first-person melee. It just I have never run into a game where the first-person melee looks smooth and looks cool and all that.
Go ahead. No, you go.
My play style is I have put up most of my like body, reflex, and cool. I use the cool a lot because of dialogue options.
No intelligence.
None whatsoever. I use the cool a lot for dialogue options because it allows me to kind of smooth things out really cool.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and I do try to hack as much as I can, but that's not the main facet of my style. I just use it to kind of like make the opening portion of my battle a little easier. I do use stealth quite a bit, but when it comes to like actual fights, like I use a katana. Well, I just got this machete, like this OP machete off of taking out a psycho killer. And then I use shotguns and rifles mostly. I'll use a handgun every now and then, but most of the time, like I whip out the shotty and just start folding niggas. But yeah, overall, like I've gotten over the awkward portion of the game for me, and now I'm kind of all in. I've said it in the Slack multiple times. I compare this game to Dragon Age 2, where it's a game that to me is fundamentally in certain ways broken and in other ways just very janky, but just the characters and the story of the game have roped me in. So now I want to keep playing it, and I've been able to forgive some of the more janky elements. As long as it doesn't keep breaking the game for me, I'll probably be all in for this. But that has been our review in progress.
This just in. Breaking news: Sony has begun refunding unhappy purchasers of Cyberpunk 2077 on PS4.
Oh wow,
that's a big deal because Sony is like, too bad.
Sony started refunding because the shit was so bad on there.
Wow,
they haven't done that since Anthem, I think.
Yikes.
So I have one last question because this kind of goes into something that like I just wish that there was more explanation on this. How do you level up athletics?
Body.
Running.
Running and fighting. And
I jumped off of something. It was like, oh, you level up athletics. I was like, all right. So I climbed up the ladder and jumped off again. It was like,
DJ, you level up athletics the way that you would in real life. Get your weight up.
But I be running everywhere, and I don't like. I'm like level 2, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Like real life.
I'd be taking the bike everywhere.
What is cold-blooded, or what is the cold blood? Do you all know?
Cold-blooded it's a stacking. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm saying if you don't know, we don't have to spend time.
No, like it's basically a passive that allows your lethality to increase after every kill. That's one track of it. It's kind of like it's a stacker of damage or some shit, depending on how you kill people.
I like that. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
It's like jumps up your numbers of damage output.
So basically, we're gonna have a lot more to say in the coming weeks, months, with this game, because like I said, we're still the furthest forward we are is Act 2, and everybody else is before that. So we'll have a lot to talk about in the future, but for right now, that's been our early impressions and our griefs and gripes with the game. And before we go any further, we're going to have a word from our sponsors. I would say CD Projekt Red, but they need some milk, so instead, we're going to have a word from our sponsors.